The sun was dipping behind the Wyoming hills, stretching long amber shadows across the dusty road. The old Ford truck coughed as it climbed the ridge, its engine groaning like it had secrets of its own. Behind the wheel sat Eli Turner, a quiet rancher with rough hands and tired eyes, a man who spoke little but noticed everything. He had been on his way home from town when he saw the shape by the roadside. Two figures huddled beside a tattered suitcase, one small and one even smaller. At first, Eli thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. Folks didn't wander out this far without a reason, and certainly not with the November chill setting in. He slowed the truck, gravel crunching under the tires, and saw them clearly. Two little girls, one about 8, the other maybe 4, both in thin dresses that looked too light for the wind. The older one stepped forward, standing between the road and her sister, like a little soldier made of bravery and bones. "Sir," she said, her voice trembling but steady enough to carry. "Do you got a place we can go?" Eli rested his arm on the window frame. "Where's your folks?" The older girl hesitated. "Mama said she was coming back." She didn't. The smaller girl clung to her sister's hand, shivering. Eli looked past them. No car, no tracks, no sign of anyone. He felt that ache deep in his chest, the one that never quite went away since his wife and boy were taken by the fever 5 winters ago. He nodded toward the truck. "Get in. I'll take you to the sheriff." The older one glanced at her sister. "Is he nice?" "He'll help," Eli said softly. They climbed in, the younger curling up like a kitten on the seat. The older kept her eyes on the window, watching the road disappear behind them. The truck rattled down the dirt road. Eli kept glancing at them from the corner of his eye. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked. "Lila," said the older one. "This is Rosie." "Pretty names," Eli murmured. "You hungry?" Rosie nodded, her small voice barely a whisper. "Just a little." Eli reached into the glove box and pulled out a paper sack, biscuits from the diner. He handed them over. Rose's face lit up, crumbs already dotting her cheeks. Lila didn't eat right away. She just held the biscuit, turning it in her hands. Eli noticed the bruises on her wrist. Faint, yellowing, but unmistakable. He didn't ask. Not yet. When they reached the little town of Silver Creek, Eli parked in front of the sheriff's office, a weathered building with a peeling sign. Sheriff Hank Bowen was an old friend, gruff but good-hearted. Eli led the girls inside. Hank looked up from his desk. "Well, I'll be. What have you got there, Turner?" "Found them by the Ridge Road," Eli said. "Said their mama didn't come back." Hank stood, eyeing the girls gently. "That's so, Missy." Lila's chin quivered, but she nodded. "You remember your last name?" he asked kindly. She hesitated. "Carter." Hank sighed. "All right. We'll find out what's what. You two can rest here a bit." Rosie clung tighter to Lila's hand. "Don't want to stay," she whispered. Eli crouched down. "It's okay, darling. Sheriff's gonna help." But Lila's eyes darted toward the back door, where a man in a dark coat stood filling out papers, the county welfare agent. Eli had seen his type before. Cold eyes, quick judgments, always thinking in forms and checkboxes instead of faces. "Can't we go with you?" Lila asked suddenly. Her voice cracked. Eli blinked. "With me? Why?" "'Cause?" She looked down at Rosie, who was half asleep against her. "We don't want to be split up. He said maybe they'd take one of us first." Eli looked to the sheriff, who avoided his eyes. "That true, Hank?" Hank sighed. "Procedure says they go to separate foster homes until we find kin. It's just how it is." Lila's lip trembled. "Can you take her instead of me?" she whispered. The room went quiet. Even the typewriter in the corner stopped clacking, as if the whole world was waiting on Eli's answer. He didn't speak, didn't trust his voice to hold steady. He just looked at her, at the way she stood so small yet so brave, offering to be left behind so her sister wouldn't have to be afraid. Minutes passed. Papers shuffled. The agent said something about proper channels. Eli didn't hear a word. Finally, he turned to Hank. You got room at that shelter? Enough food, heat? Not much, Hank admitted. Counties stretched thin. Winter's coming hard this year. Eli rubbed the back of his neck. He thought of the old ranch, the empty house, the silence that haunted every room, the way the wind whistled through the broken barn door at night. Let me take him for now, he said quietly. The agent frowned. You're not licensed, Mr. Turner. Then write whatever you have to, Eli said. They'll be warm, fed, and safe. That's more than you're offering right now. Hank studied him for a long moment, then sighed. I'll make it temporary, just till we find their kin. Lila's eyes widened. You mean, both of us? Eli finally smiled, just a hint. Both. The drive back was quieter, but softer somehow. Rosie fell asleep in Lila's lap, her tiny hand gripping her sister's sleeve. When they reached the ranch, Eli showed them the kitchen first. Big wooden table, old stove, a jar of cookies his late wife used to keep full. The girls looked around like it was a castle. Got some clean rooms upstairs, he said. Ain't fancy, but they'll do. Lila brushed her hair from her face. This used to be your family's house. He nodded. Yeah. My wife, my boy. Long time ago. I'm sorry, she said softly. Eli swallowed hard. Me too. That night, as snow began to fall, he found the girls fast asleep on the couch, curled under an old quilt that used to belong to his son. The fire crackled low, casting golden light across their faces. For the first time in years, the house didn't feel empty. Days turned into weeks. The girls learned how to feed the chickens, gather eggs, brush the horses. Rosie laughed when she tried to ride the old pony, and Lila started smiling again. Shyly at first, then brighter each day. One morning, Eli found Lila sitting on the fence, watching the sunrise. You think your mama's out there somewhere? He asked. She nodded. I hope so. But if she ain't, she looked at him. I think she'd be glad we found you. Eli looked away toward the hills. Maybe I needed to find you, too. 2 months later, a letter arrived. The sheriff said they'd found the girl's uncle, a man in Texas who wanted to take them in. Eli's stomach twisted as he read it. He'd known it might happen, but the thought of that empty house again cut deeper than he expected. He didn't say much to the girls, just told them they'd have family waiting. Rosie clapped, excited for the trip. But Lila was quiet. On the morning they were to leave, she hugged him tightly. Thank you, she whispered, for not leaving us, for taking both. Eli's voice cracked. You just remember, you'll always have a home here. Both of you. The truck drove off down the long dirt road, 2 small faces pressed to the rear window, waving until they vanished into the dust. Spring came to Silver Creek. The pastures turned green again, and the horses ran free across the fields. Eli still worked the ranch alone, but sometimes, when the wind rustled the grass just right, he swore he could hear laughter drifting from the barn. Then one morning, a new letter came. Inside was a photo, Lila and Rosie, smiling in front of a schoolhouse, their arms around each other. On the back, in a child's neat handwriting, were 5 words that made Eli smile through the tears. We're both still together. Always. Eli pinned the photo to the wall above the fireplace. The house, once silent, now felt alive again. He poured 2 cups of cocoa, set them by the fire, one for himself, and one for memory's sake, and whispered to the empty room. Guess I took both after all.